Hey everybody, this is Dwight Peters from quarterwaters.com, the site for social entrepreneurs, where social entrepreneurs come on the program, they talk about the issues they're tackling, the impact they're making, and share helpful business tips along the way. If you're watching this program, it's because you want to change the world through the power of business. You came to the right spot. Today on the program, we have with us one of the co-founders of Holstee, Mike Rad. Mike, welcome to the program, man.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much, Dwight.
No problem. Let me move my mic a little bit closer. All right, Mike, before we get into it, explain to our viewers that are not familiar with your brand exactly what Holstee is.
Okay. Holstee is a we do design a lot of different types of products, and we do what's called lifestyle designs with a conscience. And I guess at the end of the day, the purpose of Holstee is to inspire and encourage more mindful lifestyles among ourselves, among people that are in the community, and just kind of to the outside world as well.
Nah, awesome, man. I think that's great. We're really going to tap into, within this interview, we're really going to tap into how you guys started, the impact that you guys are making through the social business, and eventually go through some tips that you'll share with aspiring entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs. But one of the main reasons, I have to be honest, that I reached out to you guys is because of your manifesto. Dude, I read that, and I think I posted it on my Facebook. I'm going to buy the poster. That's how serious it is. For our viewers that aren't familiar with it, can you just explain what the manifesto is and what exactly it means to Holstee as a whole?
Sure. The manifesto is basically, it's a document that we wrote when we first started our company. David, Fabian, and I, David's my brother and Fabian is our best friend and co-founder. We decided we were going to create this new company, and the most important thing for us more than anything was the fact that it was an opportunity for us to create our dream lifestyle. And as we were thinking about what does that really mean to do that, we thought it would be important to sit down and actually put to paper what does a really successful lifestyle look like, and let's define that in our own terms, and let's do that in a way that maybe is a little bit different than how other people define success. And for us, that was like finding ways to do that in non-financial terms. And so we got together in Union Square right here in New York, and we started writing down ourselves just different things that were very important for us. And we a lot of different themes started to rise about the importance of meeting new people, being open to new ideas, travel, relationships, food, and we had some really awesome elements that came together very quickly, and that became the manifesto. And that was more a personal reminder for ourselves of what's important for us if we're going to be building a new company, and what are the ideals that we want to make sure that we always are mindful of and remembering. And we put that on our homepage because we really didn't want to forget that, because we wrote that at a time when it's just sometimes in your life you have these moments of awesome clarity, and that was one of them when we were first starting our company. We just really knew what was important. And a lot of times in businesses, and when you're starting in different companies, you kind of get caught up, you reach a certain level of financial success, but then all of a sudden you raise that bar because you feel like that's never really enough. And for us, we wanted to, before we got started even down that path, financial success is great, growth is great, but really knowing how are we going to know that we're living a successful life by our own terms? And that's the reason we defined it. That's the reason why we created this manifesto. And it seems like it's really resonated with a lot of people in a really beautiful way.
Yeah, man, I think it's awesome. So I encourage all of my viewers, if you're watching this program, go to the Holstee website. You can find it on their About page. Just click Manifesto and just take a moment just to read that and see what that does for you. So, Mike, all right, bring us back to the beginning, man. What were you doing before this, and how did you make the transition into starting Holstee?
Before Holstee, I was working at a organizational development and consulting company in Manhattan as well, and was working with Fortune 500 companies to help them develop their employees in areas of leadership development, sales, customer service. And I was doing that for about 3 years. I learned a ton doing that. It was an incredible experience for me. And but kind of got to a point where I realized that a lot of things that I was just curious and interested in and about life were very different from what I was doing in the day-to-day. And I'd go home and I'd be reading things that are not really related to the work that I was doing during the day. And that was a big flag for me. You know, you spend so much of your life at whatever your respective job is, and if it's not, you're not working on things or issues that you're really passionate about, it seems like that was like not a great use of someone's time or life, because, you know, you're not really fully checked in and into it. And so that kind of like, as I started to like think and really realize that, it became like more and more apparent. And I was speaking with my brother and with Fabian, and we had like different side projects going on at the time. And you know, we were all just like, well, you know, me and David specifically, we were working, and Fabian was finishing up his last year of school, and having these conversations about like, man, I personally just really felt like I needed to do something different, and just thinking like, you know, maybe I just need to go travel and like get out of New York. And then I was like, well, you know, New York is not the problem. I was like, well, you know, and then I was thinking, well, maybe I just need to go and, you know, figure out what other jobs I should apply for. And I was like, I don't even know if a new job would solve this, like the question that I have. And at the end of the day, we all kind of realized that it was a different kind of lifestyle that we wanted to create, and we wanted that to build something, a company, an organization that was much more centralized and focused on the values and things that we really hold dear and important, that we wanted to like focus our full attention on. And so the idea was, well, why don't we take Holstee, which at the time was just this very small kind of very small idea concept of putting a holster pocket on a t-shirt, so we got the name from. And why don't we just try and focus all of our attention on that and make something out of that, and maybe we can incorporate this like ideal type of lifestyle that we're looking for into that company, and make that like, you know, one and the same, the company, the lifestyle, the values, all very well meshed together. And in a kind of dramatic decision, we decided over the course of a weekend that, you know, maybe Dave and I would go in and we made a pact to quit our jobs on a Monday, and that we would tell our bosses that we were
the following Monday.
Yeah. And you know, I think that was like kind of received in a you know, didn't seem like the smartest thing probably to a lot of people at the moment, because that was also like the heat of this recession that was going on in 2009. And, you know, the company I was at had just laid off like 100 people, and, you know, I made like rounds of layoffs, and, you know, we had a lot of family and friends that were like concerned with the decision that we were making, because we were about to start a company in an industry we had no experience in, doing something that we weren't trained in. We weren't product designers, and we wanted to like go and make like t-shirts with a pocket on it. And we never like made a business plan, and I think if we had, we probably would never have started, because we would have quickly seen like how impossible the numbers are to actually make it work. But we're more driven by this idea of like building something that that would encourage that type of lifestyle. And step by step, you know, we kind of went into this survival mode of where we would figure, you know, like we were roommates, so we had to figure out something about rent. We knew that we weren't going to have healthcare for a while, probably, because, you know, we didn't have, and like there's a lot of sacrifices that we had to make, but a lot of those sacrifices actually turned into very positive lifestyle decisions and choices.
See, this is real. I don't even want to cut you up. This is what I look for in interviews, man. I say it time and time again. The fact that you guys really had to think like, holy crap, how are we going to pay rent? No health insurance. That's what it takes. And what kept you guys going? First off, what made you guys want to put holsters on t-shirts? Even that. We just wanted to do something that was like different and unique. You know, there's like always a lot of like silkscreen shirts were coming out and like kind of like blowing up with like threadless and stuff like that, and those are awesome. But there never has been like a really cool like functional change to a t-shirt, like the form of the t-shirt, and there's like pocket on the chest, but that's not really practical. And we thought it would be kind of cool to have a t-shirt with like a pocket and like a unique spot that is actually practical, and like do it in a way that mixes different like materials and fabrics. And so we just thought that would be cool. And then like as we started doing that, we learned a lot about different the ways that different t-shirts are made, and how there's a lot of, you know, like for example, we learned that cotton is very resource intensive, and you know that it is traditional cotton, non-organic cotton, requires a ton of pesticides. For example, it represents only 2% of the world's crops, but requires over 50% of the world's pesticides. So it's like an insanely pesticide intensive crop, and it's very water intensive crop. And like we decided early on that if we were going to be making things, we wanted to make them in a way that we'd be very proud of, and we'd be excited to
to want to share the ingredients in every single item that we design. And that became a big part of how we wanted to create our company, and it kind of like set us on this very specific path. You know, when we started Holstee, the intention was never to become like a uber ecologically focused company. I think that just almost elements of that evolved very naturally, because we just wanted to be in a position where that would be like an exciting point of our company. How, you know, like a lot of companies, like they're not excited to share like how something's made or where something's made, and we wanted to be very open and forthcoming with that information.
Awesome. All right, man. So let's get back to the story a little bit. So Monday, both of you guys quit. What was the conversation that Tuesday morning?
It's kind of like a holy shit moment. What are we going to do? We knew there was a lot of work that we needed to do, and I think that first week we were just like not really sure what we needed to do first, and there's a lot of just like, you know, for the first time we were really working on our own. We were like left to our own wits to figure this out, and we tried to like just organize like what are the most important things that we should be doing right now, and it took us a while to get into the swing of it, especially, you know, when you start your own thing, you have to be like super self-disciplined, and that was a very different experience than what we had, you know. And you know, when you're working in like a bigger company, you need to have a level of self-discipline, but it's like nowhere near when you're like deciding and like very self-directed, and like just everything that you do is because you're deciding that you should be doing it. And it took us a while to get used to that, I think. And it was, I think we were really lucky in some respects to not be doing that alone. We kind of like were doing that with someone else. Like me and my brother, and also Fabian was like a big part in those elements in those days. And we kind of like would keep each other in check, and it was just very important for us to like be very open, like, okay, these are the goals, these are the things that we're trying to do for this week, and we would hold each other accountable for them. And but yeah, it was a lot of like figuring out like, okay, what are the first things we need to do to like get this off the ground, getting a shop together, an online shop, getting the figuring out what to do with like inventory, how to ship things out, because we were literally just learning everything
on the fly.
On the fly, yeah.
So when did it start to pick up that you guys realized like, okay, you know what, this was the right choice? And how long did that take? When did you wake up and not feel the stress as much?
No, I have to say I never really, even though we felt like there were moments where we would kind of like look at our bank account and look like, holy shit, like we're week to week right now. And I mean, it's incredible. We would, I don't know, we'd get by on like very, very, very little, but, and I think that, I mean, that went on for a while, you know, and I would say that like we're still very much in startup mode. Maybe it's a little bit more of a comfortable spot now, but probably took us about a year in to like get like really like some momentum going, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
And what did that come by? So you guys get this idea, you guys start making t-shirts. How did you guys tackle it? Talk about how you guys were able to spread the word about it, get a little bit of attention. What was your first marketing campaign, and how did that go about?
Mm-hmm. We always did like kind of very unique. We never really spent any money on like Facebook ads or Google ads. We just tried to do a lot of, I guess, word of mouth type stuff, and we would do things in such a unique way that we hoped that they were story worthy, that people would want to share them actively. And that was the most exciting way for us to run a business, run a company. And from the way that we were making our stuff, to the materials that we used, to the way that we were distributing and sharing that, we tried to make that as unique as possible. And you know, we had a lot of different cool projects that were going on that generated buzz. And from early on, we built a lot of relationships with some incredible bloggers, and so we kind of had this like very grassroots level growth, I think. I would say that we did put a lot of focus on like different types of projects. For example, like one time we did a line of shirts that got us some good attention, where we collected shirts from friends and people who were no longer wearing those T-shirts, and we would take them. And the whole purpose of this idea or campaign was to raise awareness of the fact that like a T-shirt that is sitting in your closet that you might have had, or like you might have traveled with, or had this incredible experience with, even if you no longer wear it, that shirt has like inherently a lot of value, and much more value than like a shirt that's sitting on a rack of like some random retail store. And so we asked like, if you're not wearing that shirt anymore, let's take it. And we silk screened three different messages over each of these shirts. And one of the message was, it was a big circle with an asterisk, and it said like, the story of this shirt is to be continued. And then another one was, it had like three big blocks going down, and across it I said, "Fuck fast fashion." And then the third one was just like this big like mirror frame that said like, everything has a story. And we would just literally print this right over whatever was already on the shirt. And things like that, I think, like helped us to like just make a little bit of a name for ourselves. And it was just doing story worthy things was definitely our approach for getting the word out about Holstee more than anything. But I will say the thing that really definitely got us on the map is the way that the manifesto has kind of taken on a life of its own in many ways on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr, and just internationally and around the world. It's been we've been totally floored by the response and like how people have taken it and really made it their own. And it seems like it's impacted a lot of people in ways that we never imagined. You know, this is something that we wrote for ourselves. It was a message that we wanted to like always remember, and just like it seems that there's a lot of people who were feeling the same way. We get response all the time that like, these are all things that like I've been thinking about, but never really had them all together in one place. And that's pretty awesome to hear that, you know. And we hear a lot of really cool stories about, for example, my sister's living in Kenya right now, and we had sent her a poster for her and her family. And when she went to go get it framed, she went to this like super small independent frame shop in Nairobi. And as she walked in, she saw like the manifesto on the wall of this guy's frame shop.
Already.
Yeah, already. And like it was on top of like a Steve Jobs quote, by the way, which is also really cool. And she walks in and she's like, "Hey, you know, I just had a quick question. Where did you get that, you know, the manifesto they have hanging up there?" It's like, "Oh, someone else came in and they had a poster, they had this amazing poster, and I framed it for them, and I thought it was so cool that I went on the website where the poster was from, and I printed out a bunch of them. Do you want a copy of it? Isn't it great?" She's like, "Well, yeah, I mean, I actually already have one, and I was about to get it framed, and it was written by my brothers and their best friend when they started their company, and they both had this like incredible moment. And when we heard that, it became really clear that, man, this is something that is like totally transcends all boundaries of like cultural, geographic, race, religion, whatever. Yeah. It's these are things that like people everywhere can like totally get behind and feel are important for them. And that was a really beautiful moment for us, and we realized like there's something very special about that.
Nah, man, it's awesome. Yo, let's also talk about the impact that you guys are making, man. You guys donate a good percentage. Speak on that.
So what we do is 10% of all of our sales, we partner with Kiva, which is a micro-lending organization, and they work with organizations that help to facilitate funds to entrepreneurs, or like very impoverished entrepreneurs around the world. And since the very beginning, we've put aside a portion of our money towards Kiva, and which the beautiful thing about that is like we really liked it because you're directly helping an individual, like a very grassroots level approach. You know, someone, for example, an example would be maybe there's a woman who's a seamstress, and if she could get a couple $100 to get a better machine and get better materials, she could run a much better, bigger business and generate a better profit and be able to like better support her family. But without that, she would obviously she would have a much harder time of getting to that place. And because of the position she's in, she, you know, a lot of times, you know, she doesn't have a bank account, she doesn't have collateral, banks won't lend to her. So this is like the only opportunity or access she has for getting any type of line of credit or money to be able to grow her business.
Yeah.
And we thought that was such a cool way to be able to like directly work with someone in the developing world. And, you know, us as entrepreneurs, we've gotten so much help and support from people. This was a very cool way for us to be able to pay that forward to other entrepreneurs that are even more in need of that kind of support than us. And the beautiful thing about microlending is we don't get any interest on those loans, but they have a very high return rate. So 99% of those people return their payments, and they get returned in 6 to 8 months. So we're able to build that into our business, and know, even though we will lose that 10% of revenue, we know it'll be coming back 99% of the time, which is good enough for us. And so it's become a part of our, 6 to 8 months, that money comes back, and we're able, like, as our business grows and as that money comes back, we can put it back into our company, and we can grow and hopefully be able to lend more the next time.
Awesome, man. Mike, you guys are doing an amazing thing, man. Once again, I'm a big fan of the manifesto. What other tips would you leave with aspiring social entrepreneurs that want to get started, that do want to change the world, that want to participate in this?
Mm-hmm. I think that the most important thing is there's so many awesome ideas that I hear people talking about all the time, and sometimes I feel like there's not always enough action, like, or people are afraid to share those ideas because they're worried someone else will take them. And the worst thing you can do for an idea is to, like, keep it in your head and to, like, not let it out in the world, and, like, not mingle in the air of, like, and just get it out of your head, because it's almost like, if you think about it, like, an idea is a living thing, and it needs to breathe, and needs to get out, or needs to, like, interact with the real world. And whatever that means for you, if, like, it's a physical idea or a digital or whatever, make a prototype of it, get something out there that you can, like, visualize, hold, share, and talk about, because until you do that, it's really just an idea, and that's, like, a massive step, getting it into the physical world and getting it out of your head. So more than anything, I would just, if it's something that's really, there's something that people are thinking about doing, stop talking and just, like, take a step, even if it's a teeny step every day. Do something that brings you closer to that.
Awesome, and an idea alone will not change the world, but taking a step will. Love it, man. Mike, thanks for coming on the program, man. Keep doing the great job you guys are doing over there.
Cool. Thanks, Dwight. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem.